Good afternoon. My name's B. Moorhead. I'm the Executive Director of Texas Impact. Texas Impact is a statewide interfaith policy advocacy network. Our members include the regional governing bodies of many Christian denominations, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and interfaith social justice networks, thousands of religious congregations, and tens of thousands of individuals of faith throughout Texas. Our public policy positions are established by a board of delegates representing our member denominations. Thus, our policy positions reflect consensus positions on issues of broad religious social concern. Texas Impact's board remains hopeful that the 84th legislature will strengthen regulation of payday and auto title lending. Some of the smaller bills you're considering would yield meaningful improvements for borrowers of all kinds. Some of the bills, like the particular one, Representative Craddock's bill, House Bill 3047, are broader. And in those cases, we suggest that it would be prudent to look at a more systematic analysis of the impact of particular legislative provisions on borrowers, and for that matter, on lenders. We recognize that the goal of regulatory legislation is to ensure the fair and efficient functioning of an industry, so it makes sense to quantify the anticipated outcomes of provisions related to current conditions. We're neutral on this bill. We are particularly interested in the regulatory framework, within the regulatory framework, and the impact legislation might have on borrowers, especially low-income borrowers. We're fans of the kind of consumer financial impact analysis that was done for Senate Bill 1247 last session, which quantified expected savings from specific provisions of the bill. If you can't say how much the provisions of a bill would save or cost consumers relative to how much they would pay without it, it seems hard to arrive at a position on the bill. We've heard many of you muse that there may be a connection between payday lending and access to or use of traditional banking services. Many witnesses have testified to the well-known statistic that 40% of Texans are unbanked or underbanked. Instead of taking that statistic as an axiom, we suggest that you all take a holistic approach to improving family financial security, including possibly an interim study on how bank and credit union branch closures have impacted low-income Texas communities. Finally, we suggest that the issue of payday lending touches on social policy issues that are outside the scope of regulatory legislation, but very much within your purview. Texas leads the nation in lack of health insurance, and many witnesses have testified that's a driver of short-term loans. Loans taken in a health crisis may be expected to be particularly ill-advised since they are born of desperation. Texas's child poverty rate has increased by nearly 50% in the past decade. 1 in 4 Texas children don't have access to enough food to stay healthy, so it's not surprising that their parents might turn to short-term loans. In the interests of sound regulatory policy, Texas Impact believes it would be wise to develop systematic analysis of all the policy proposals related to payday and auto title lending and to move forward from that rational basis. In the interests of a robust financial security that works for everyone, Texas Impact encourages legislators to focus on increasing access to traditional banking services, not just regulating lenders who fall outside the traditional market. And in the interests of low-income borrowers and the millions of Texans who can't even borrow enough from payday lenders to meet their basic needs, we hope that you will recommit to supporting core policies and programs that promote self-sufficiency for all Texans. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, B, very much for your testimony. Members, any questions for B? I appreciate you elaborating on why you guys are on the bill. You have obviously concerns about this really, well, if it's going to provide, if you will, enough access to people that need it, and so on and so forth. So that was very interesting testimony and very balanced. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.